onto this instrument right at the start, that kind of agreement in principle is not so very far from what was in the agreement. My view would be, however, that I'd be very reluctant to see that turned into a legal requirement before anything else can happen. Everybody can't go last. Everybody always wants to go last. You've got to figure out how to get things started.
Prakash, in answer to your question, I think I agree with Joan's position, which is to say, but I don't want to put it that way, otherwise I may get her position wrong. My position is the agreement would have to be changed fundamentally in a way that I find it unlikely it would be changed, and that is to say that the New Delhi would have to agree to end fissile material production for any purpose before it would seem to me a good idea from the non-proliferation perspective to initiate supply of nuclear equipment to India, change the United States non-proliferation law, and give up a policy that we have pursued for so many years of full-scope safeguards as a condition of supply, and have attempted to convince other states to adopt with actually a fair degree of success. There was a question here and a question there.
My name is Colonel Saukar. I'm from the Indian Army, just retired. Professor Arunachalam already has talked about the energy security policy of India, how important it is to our national security, civilian nuclear energy. And Ambassador Schaefer has already highlighted India's responsibility as a nuclear power. My question is that in case, and I also wanted to emphasize that India also has a no first use policy in its nuclear weapon doctrine. My question is that in case there were too many restrictions put on India, and this whole cooperation deal just fell through, and since the fact that India-US relations were already on the upswing before this cooperation deal was signed by President Bush and Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, how serious an impact would it really have on US-India relations if the deal just fell through? And I think probably Ambassador Schaefer might be able to answer this question. Thank you.
If things move slowly on the Hill, I think the Indian government is sophisticated enough to understand that this is part of Washington life, a part they don't particularly like, but that's something that I think the U.S. relationship could survive. If this was actually rejected by the Congress, I think it would be a very severe blow to U.S.-India relations.
George?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I didn't have time to say that there is a downside for the Congress, which is that a lot of the world, especially people in developing countries, see the non-proliferation regime as a form of nuclear apartheid, an effort by the rich countries to deny high technology to developing countries. And there are lots of ways that that's interpreted. And we have a problem right now that a lot of countries in the world are not so enthusiastic about enforcing the rules of the non-proliferation regime. We see this in the case of Iran in the last couple of months. So if the U.S. Congress kind of in a very prominent way denies all nuclear technology cooperation to India, there is a way in which this can be seen in other parts of the world as another example of a non-proliferation system that's fundamentally about keeping developing countries from developing. Now, I don't think that's what's going on, but I think there's a perception that could be generated there. The flip side, though, is this deal could fall apart in India. There are problems in India. And my sense is that there's no one in Washington, with the exception of a few lobbyists, some of whom are friends of mine who are here, who would have a real problem if this whole thing just went away and we didn't have to deal with it. My perception is that the U.S. is offering this cooperation because India says it wants it, and we're trying to make India happy. If India says it doesn't want it, people here will breathe a big sigh of relief and say, great. Let's go on to something else.
Question right here.
My name is Stanley Schneider. I became associated with the nuclear issues when I joined the Atomic Energy Commission and went to work